Wait, so Chelsea actually tried to sign Virgil van Dijk, but failed. And instead of going after the 20-year-old players that we've been trying to go after, the Chelsea board tried to go after Liverpool's biggest name. According to massive reports from Ben Jacobs, the Blues made a sensational move for Virgil van Dijk during the summer transfer window. Today, we're diving into the details of that offer, why the deal collapsed, and what it tells us about the ownership's real strategy at Stamford Bridge. If you're new here, this is From the Shed End. We bring you all the latest Chelsea news as it happens, when it happens. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you're following this channel for new videos every single day. So according to reports, especially coming out of the Chelsea news, and of course, that we've got to take this information with a pinch of salt. A pinch of salt, because we know that Virgil van Dijk is one of the best centre-backs, or has been one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League for a number of years. And look, his contract, if you remember, at the back end of last summer was coming to an end. There was talks about him going elsewhere. Liverpool board weren't coming out aggressively trying to make sure that deal was done very early into the summer period. But look, Virgil van Dijk is and has been a very good centre-back. And I remember listening and reading to a lot of these reports in the summer about us trying to get him and, conversations with his representatives and all the rest of it. And I never really took much notice of it because at the time we were signing, and we still are signing young players, 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds. And I'm going to give you my view on what I think has happened and what was going on. But I do think there was some element to this story that is true. I do think we tried to sign Virgil van Dijk. But I think we went about it the wrong way. And I think we went about it in a way that was probably very sheepish, behind closed doors, trying to do it a very sneaky way. And look, Virgil van Dijk is a loyal player to Liverpool. He's got a massive legacy there. He's won the Premier League. He's won trophies at Liverpool, and he's the captain. And I think for me, Virgil probably looks at his loyalty to the Liverpool fans, his loyalty to everyone that's trusted him, everyone that's been, a part of what he's tried to achieve at the club. And the fans that will give him the loyalty in Liverpool, that's always going to remain if he stays there. If he stays there. Now, he's going to be 36, I think, by the time in 2027 when his contract actually comes to an end again, the back end of this season. But look, I mean, Virgil van Dijk, he would have been brilliant for us. He would have been brilliant for Chelsea. And if we're honest, Chelsea should have gone out to try and get him. We should have gone all out to try and get him. If it was a case we were entertaining the opportunity to sign him, there would have been no transfer fee at that time because, of course, his contract at that time came to an end. But we should have gone all out to try and get him. If these stories are true. Now, I don't think they are. But if they are true, we should have gone all out to get him. Because there's not many centre-backs, even at the age that Virgil van Dijk is. We've got to see it with Thiago Silva. Some of these defenders can play for many, many years and still look Thiago Silva for Porto yesterday, they beat Benfica 1-0. He played the full 90 minutes. This is Thiago Silva. So certain players, they're just off that ilk where they find another level all the time. And I feel like Virgil's one of those players. He is one of those players. But do I think there's truth to this story? Do I think we honestly really were we actually going to sign Virgil van Dijk? The short answer to that is no. I don't think we were. I don't think we were going to sign him. Should we have signed him? Completely different question. And that is yes, because I think when you look at the centre-backs we've got, Axel Disasi, Benoit Badiashile, there's been talk a lot about Trevor Chalobah leaving the club over the last 2 or 3 years. We now look at Levi Colwill and look what's happened to him with the ACL. Wesley Fofana at the time, was only coming back from a big injury himself. Leaves us with Achiampong as a right centre-back option. Reece James is a right centre-back option. And Slimino's in Dortmund, or is on loan. So we need quality in depth. We've been screaming, as Chelsea fans, we've been screaming for quality in depth at centre-back, as strikers options, now as a goalkeeper. So I do think someone like Virgil van Dijk would be amazing at Chelsea Football Club. And I'm not saying that we should even entertain going back in for him if he doesn't sign a deal when he's 2027, when his deal comes to an end again. But What I do think we need to do and act very quickly, and there is a lot of reports, as you can see here, coming out from Matt Law saying that we are entertaining the opportunity to go and get a centre back in this January transfer window. Now, if that is the case, two names, two names. I know we've been linked with many centre backs, but there's two names that spring out when I think about centre backs and the level that they will give us. This, in fact, let me throw third name in there. The third name I don't think will happen, but let me throw that third name in and the first one is Marcos Senesi. Now he's at Bournemouth. He's good on 1v1s. He can play out from the back. He's a left-footed centre-back. He's something that I think Liam Rizzini would thrive from in terms of being able to play the football that he wants to play, have the goalkeeper play it out from the back, use his ball playing, the defenders and work the ball through the transitions. But Senesi, for me, I mean, he's 29, so he doesn't fit the sort of profile of players that we would necessarily go for in terms of the younger centre backs, the ones that you want at 23, 24, maybe 25. He doesn't fit that mold. But I feel with some areas of the pitch, you have to make exceptions. You have to make exceptions for certain areas of the pitch or certain players, certain quality of players. Now, I'm not saying that it's Senesi, but if it is a Virgil van Dijk, then you go above and beyond. You get that deal done. You pay him what he wants him. Because what happens is you miss out on big targets. You miss out on the Victor Osimhens. You miss out on this player, that player, because you're not willing to meet them halfway or even entertain a conversation of going against the model, going against the wage structure. Sometimes you have to break out of that a little bit if you want to bring in the quality of a Virgil van Dijk or the quality of someone else. You have to break that mold. Look, Virgil van Dijk, I don't think will ever happen. Did we entertain a conversation? Did we entertain trying to bring him to the club or see if he was interested? Then maybe so. And I think for half an hour, maybe Virgil van Dijk did actually think, you know what, London, Trafalgar Square, West London, Fulham Road, Knightsbridge, I could do a bit of that. Maybe he thought that for half an hour and then realised, actually, I remember Steven Gerrard. I remember what happened to him. I know what these Liverpool fans are like. They take loyalty to the grave. To the grave. They take loyalty very, very seriously as Liverpool fans. And to move from a rival is never easy. So I don't think that Liverpool Virgil van Dijk deal was ever going to happen. But there is another player who I can see coming back to Chelsea. And that is Antonio Rudiger, whose contract ends at the end of this season. Now, if we're interested in buying a centre-back this window, 10 million euros, and it probably brings him back to Stamford Bridge. Now, we know that Antonio Rudiger, if you remember, there was times when Antonio Rudiger, Chelsea fans fell out with him early in his Chelsea career. He wasn't the centre-back. He started well in his career, then he went off, he sort of nosedived a little bit in terms of the quality he was bringing to the team. And then afterwards, he became this colossal centre-back that just was everywhere, shithousery, just brilliant 1v1s, last-ditch tackles. He just had everything about him. And if you remember, we didn't want to lose him. Sanctions came in, deals were done, Real Madrid came knocking, he had to find a club. So he didn't necessarily want to leave, but we couldn't offer him a contract at the time because of the sanctions. So I think he's got unfinished business. And I think Rudiger, again, I'm going back to what I just said, he doesn't fit this youth model, this youth project. He doesn't fit any of those things. He doesn't tick none of those boxes. But he gives you quality on the pitch. He gives you that quality on the pitch. Now, he's fell out of favour in terms of the pecking order at Real Madrid. Of course, Arbeloa is there now. Xabi Alonso's gone, so it might change things. But if it doesn't, and he's still sat there, and he's still questioning whether he's done the right thing by waiting out till the summer to get a move. Look, I mean, the World Cup's coming up. Does he want to try and get into that Germany squad? I don't know. But if he does, or if he's got intentions of trying to revive his career, we need a centre-back. Now, if we're not hungry enough, and we're not smart enough, and Liam Rizzini has come out already and said, look, we need to potentially sign a centre-back. Rudiger's there, 10 million, maybe 15 at a push, but you're going to get your centre-back. And you're going to get someone who knows the club, he knows what it means to play for this club, he's won the Champions League with us, he knows what it means. He understands the Chelsea, well, he understood, let me rephrase that, he understood the Chelsea DNA that's of course changed since the new ownership and change of ownership and whatever else. But he understands what it means to play at that football club. He understands what it means to play at Stamford Bridge. He understands what it means to be a winner at the club. And he comes with a large amount of experience, which is again something that we don't have with some of these players at the moment. So I think for me, Rudiger has to be top of that list. Ahead of Senesi, ahead of some of these other players, the guy from Como. And no, we need to bring in someone who's quality, proven, played at the top, played with some of the best players, trains with Mbappe every single day. That's what we need to bring in. Now, the third option, the third choice for me, which again is probably a straightforward one, but I think again, when your head's turned and you've got Man City calling for you, Real Madrid calling for you, Liverpool, you nearly signed for them, Mark Guehi. Now, if we could have got him, now this for me, this is the one that kind of burns a little bit because he's Chelsea through. He's from the product. He's from the academy. He's from the same academy as Conor Gallagher and all the rest of these players that were very successful at Chelsea in the academy. And you would think to come back to Chelsea where you sort of started your career, you'd want to do that. You'd think you'd want to do that, but he doesn't want to do that. He wants to go to the Man City or he wants to go to the Bernabeu. I can't knock him for that, but I just think when you got to think about, look at your options. Look at your options. Now, I personally don't think Mark Gay goes anywhere in this window. I think he stays to the end of the summer, waits out for his options, and he's out of contract then. I think he's already said he's not signing a new deal with Palace. So a lot of the money that Palace will be getting for him now will be in his back pocket. So I don't think he goes anywhere. I think, if I'm being honest, Antonio Rudiger, if there's a God up there, if Chelsea Football Club are serious about trying to revive or save this season, defensively, we've got to change something. We've got to change something. And if we do, for me, Antonio Rudiger has to be the player that we go for. He has to be the player that we go for. Not Virgil. Virgil, I think, would cost us an arm and a leg. But Antonio Rudiger, I can see that happening. I can see that happening. I would not be surprised if it happens. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Should Liverpool hold their hands up and say, actually, we need to get rid of Virgil van Dijk in the summer? Should he come to Chelsea? I don't think that's going to happen. But what about Antonio Rudiger? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that Linktree link in the description below as well. And let me know your thoughts about our defense.